You can master your diet, your training, and your money. You can be the person everyone else describes as steady, and yet you can still lie down at midnight and lose a 2-hour fight to a single thought in the dark. You tell yourself, enough, I am done thinking about this. For about 4 seconds, it works. Then the thought comes back louder, like it was waiting in the next room for you to lower your guard. So you push harder, and it gets worse. This failure is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that you are using a strategy that cannot work. The war you wage against your own thoughts is a war you can only lose by fighting. In 1987, psychologist Daniel Wegner gave a room full of people one instruction: say everything that comes into your head out loud. But whatever you do, do not think about a white bear. If a white bear crosses your mind, ring this bell. This graph tracks those bells. These were ordinary, capable adults, and they could not hold the line for 60 seconds. The bear walked into their minds more than once a minute, uninvited, unwanted, and impossible to evict. When Wegner eventually told them they could think about the bear freely, the thoughts surged through the door harder than ever. The suppression didn't clear the mind, it just stored up pressure. The novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky identified this exact trap in 1863, over a century before Wegner's lab. He noted that if you pose yourself the task of not thinking of a polar bear, the cursed thing will come to mind every minute. When you reach for brute force willpower to silence a thought, you are using a tool that is historically and mechanically prone to failure. You are bailing water into your own boat and calling it discipline. To understand why, look at how the brain handles suppression. You quietly split your mind into 2 workers. One is the distractor, looking for anything else to think about to fill the space. The second is the monitor, and its only task is to check for the forbidden thought. This monitor has a fatal logical flaw. To confirm the bear is not there, it has to hold the bear in front of you for a fraction of a second. It cannot do its job without summoning the exact thing it is guarding against. The more you try not to think about it, the more often the monitor runs. The more it runs, the more it summons the thought. Your willpower is not fighting the thought. Your willpower is feeding it. There is a cost difference between these 2 workers. The distractor, the one finding new things to think about, takes real mental fuel, but the monitor runs for free, on automatic. This is why the system breaks down at 2 a.m. When you are heavily tired or highly stressed, the effortful distractor is the first to run out of gas. That leaves the tireless monitor alone in the dark, endlessly triggering the very thought you are trying to avoid. A racing mind at midnight is not a sign of personal failure. It is simply a depleted engine running a mechanically flawed strategy. We can see this mechanical reality in our biology. In 2007, a UCLA study used brain scans to analyze how we react to fear and anger. When subjects simply looked at fearful images, the amygdala, the brain's alarm center, lit up and stayed active. It functioned like a loop that wouldn't shut off. But the moment the subjects assigned a word to the emotion, labeling it fear or anger, the activity shifted. The amygdala went quieter, and a region behind the forehead that acts as an emotional brake came online. The alarm does not need to be fought, it needs to be named. By gently labeling the thought, you stop being trapped inside the storm and start standing calmly beside it. The Stoics practiced a version of this mental break 2,000 years ago. Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius trained themselves to stop mistaking the arrival of a thought for a command they had to obey. They drew a sharp line between what is up to us and what is not. The thought that arrives in your mind, the flash of fear or the memory, is like weather rolling in. It is not up to you. What is up to you is what you do the moment after it arrives. They called this the first arrow. It lands, it stings, and you did not fire it. It is an unavoidable part of being alive. But most men then pick up a bow and fire a second arrow into the same wound. They replang, they argue, and they force. The war against an unwanted thought is simply a man standing in the dark, firing arrow after arrow into his own chest, wondering why he is bleeding. Real control is not the ability to stop the first arrow from landing. It is the discipline to refuse to fire the second. At 2 in the morning, the first tool is to name the thought accurately. Say, this is a thought about that conversation. Don't fight it, don't feed it, just name it, the way you would name a passing car on the street. The second tool is to ask, what is the use of this? A thought about an unpaid bill is a signal for action. A loop about a decade-old memory is just your mind rubbernecking at a car crash. Once you see the difference, you can stop obeying thoughts that only ask for your pain. The third tool is to lower the load. A mind with nothing to hold will drift back to the bare, so give it a physical anchor, a deep, mindful breath, or the weight of a blanket. Do not reach for a phone. Doom scrolling only trains the alarm system to keep ringing. Research from 2024 confirms that even deep-seated unwanted thoughts can be set aside through practice. But the relief comes from a gentle release, not the desperate command to get out. The strongest action you can take against a racing mind is to refuse the fight. Let the first arrow land, name what it is, and then take your hand off the bow. Tonight, when the thought comes back, do not order it away. Name it, out loud if you have to, and let it walk past you. Subscribe to stay with us as we build this work, one kept promise at a time. Tell me in the comments the thought you are going to stop fighting. Naming it is the first rep. I will see you in the work.